All right, what is up? Welcome back to another video, and I want to start this off by saying welcome to the new space, kind of. This is going to be the area I reserve for opening cameras, inspecting cameras, and all this stuff. It's just this will be a lot easier for the sake of keeping my other desk a little bit more clean and focused on repair stuff. This will just be different format, but we have a problem. And that would be this, okay? This is obviously more cameras, arguably, well, not even arguably, inarguably, I would say cameras that I don't actually need, but I kind of do. So let's talk about it. So first and foremost, what we're about to see cost me $100. So bear that in mind. Comes very nicely packaged with what I can only assume someone should have like their science fair results drafted out on this, but that's okay. We have that and we have that. Two cameras for $100. Two AE-1s, not bad. AE-1 program. Easy ways you can tell the difference is one, you have your shutter speed dial here. The program, it is sitting here. The AE-1 has a little toggle here. The AE-1 program has a rubber piece there. Also, this one does say AE-1 program right there. If you like just reading, that's a good way to tell the difference. This one does not say program, so pretty dead giveaway there. Something weird about this one, it has an A1 rewind lever, so that's cool, I guess. I don't know if either of these work, but let's test them out really quickly. No battery. Right off the bat, we have a broken battery door here, as you can tell, so that's pretty sick. Advance lever is not seated properly, so not working. Also, it just might be broken. Okay, let's take a step back. Sorry. Got new batteries in them. I'll test those in a bit, but I want to talk about the problem, and that is that these two cameras cost me $100. Now you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, what are you talking about? That's two cameras for $100. Each one of these is only $50. That's a screaming deal. And I would agree with you, except for I bought these for parts or not working, and these were the cheapest AE-1s out there. 4 parts or not working. I used to be able to get like 5 for $100. Like I would be able to get AE-1s, 4 parts or not working for $20 thereabouts. And then, it is what it is. I'm not saying this in any way of like, oh, you kids ruin the market. I'm just saying the reality of the situation is these cameras and parts are harder to come by. And so these videos where it is fun to do, it's fun to talk about and all this stuff, but they are not long for this world. I'm going to still make them as long as I can, but ultimately there's going to become a point where it is more expensive to try to buy parts cameras than to not. And I do have like a pretty healthy respite of film cameras and parts and all that stuff, so it's not like a big deal, but it is something that I'm like actively thinking about and trying to find new ways to source or produce parts that are common failure parts, because as we've talked about, the AE-1 program has a little advanced clutch thing, and that breaks often, I've found. So getting something like that, trying to replicate that and reproduce it to replace it means that I can salvage a bunch of AE-1s that I have that I've had to take that part out of, and thus getting like more cameras in the market and hopefully trying to solve this issue. It's a much larger discussion, I know, and this is not the proper time to talk about it, but this is just something that like is pressing because I got these 4 parts for another camera. It took forever to get here. And then also too, it's like, this is expensive. Like, customer has to foot the bill on these parts cameras, and I'm not trying to like nickel and dime someone, but it's not sustainable ultimately. But that being said, let's take a look at these cameras. First of all, advance on this one is acting up not great. The shutter is not working, and it is registering power, which is nice. And we can tell that because when we press down on the power testing button, the needle's dropping below the 5.6. It's actually sitting just above or just below the 4, which means there is power shortage because with a full battery like this one is, it should be dropping down to the 2.8. Because it's not working properly, I'm going to remove the battery so it doesn't drain it. And the viewfinder is clean, prism is clean, so that's a good part there. As I mentioned, this is an A1 piece. The interior of the camera isn't looking great. The shutter looks as though it had not traveled fully, so that could potentially be a problem. It looks like it's halfway in the advanced process, or not even halfway, but partially initiated the advanced system, so that's something to keep note of. The bottom is very clean, so that's a good part. The top is also very clean, so that's a good part. Overall, I would say, like, cosmetically, this is very good. And this is something that you have to look for if you're looking for parts cameras. Internally, it's questionable, to say the least, because I've not really looked at it. But this does not really fill me with confidence. So I'm eager to take this apart and get a better look at it. Now, the program, this one is a little bit more special because it has the plastic composite pieces. So a bottom like this, I would say, is thereabouts priceless because this is really, really clean. Like, I'm genuinely quite impressed. So I'm very happy about that. The front and the top are also looking quite nice, quite clean. And again, these are all things that I look for. This does need to get a good scrubbing down in there because, oh man. The eyepiece is also looking pretty good, which is nice to see. This one, the power does not appear to be working at all because I'm pressing down on the power testing button, and typically there would be a very obnoxious beeping sound, and there is none. So what we will do is shimmy that around. There we go. Yeah, that's not a good sound. So the frequency of the beeping does typically indicate the power. There we go. That's how it should sound. Oh man, look at that. She lives. No. Okay. Okay, we have a camera. However, the shutter speeds are not accurate at all. There we go. Look at that. Sometimes I'm just a wizard. Sometimes I'm just a warlock. The jury is still out as to whether or not I have mystical powers, but who's to say? So very few things with this. One, the power is kind of messed up. I would suggest... oh yeah, the contacts in there are really scuffed. So going to clean that off first and foremost so we can get more consistent power output. Aperture squeal, shutter squeal. I mean, listen to that. Does not fill me with confidence. So get those cleaned up as well. Overall, cleaning the camera I think will help it out quite a bit too. Just show it some love, which I think that'll be a really nice video to make, so I'm going to probably be doing that soon. Pop open the back here, take a look. Overall interior looks okay. There's a bunch of gunk on the door itself, but that's easily cleanable. And yeah, so far I would say with the bottom the way it is, I mean, this is pretty stinking mint. And the top being not particularly awesome, but very cleanable. I would say that this was a really good purchase. And overall, like, get this cleaned up, get it working again, and I can sell it and make a decent amount of money off of it. So it's, you know, works well in my favor, I would say. And then the AE-1, I mean, just as it is, very good parts. Like, there's probably a lot of decent parts in here, and honestly, I could probably just make it work too. We'll see. But the point, though, that of this video that I kind of wanted to make was, again, addressing the fact that these two cameras, and, you know, I don't want to be that guy that's, like, complaining, because, like, it's not, I'm really not trying to make this out to be, like, a complaining piece or anything like that. I just think, ultimately, I'm trying to address the reality of the situation, and that is that these are very finite quantities. Okay, we're looking at things that, it's going to be really, really hard to find AE-1s in a couple of years' time, and especially if the market keeps trending the way it's trending, which I hope it does, because I love seeing people get excited and invested in film photography. And I don't want to ever be someone that's like, no, you shouldn't do it because you make my job a little harder. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm trying to be the opposite of that. I want people to come in. I want there to be a very healthy and thriving market of creators and of producers of content, all of that stuff. But that being said, there is part of this equation that we're getting kind of wrong. And that is just that getting parts for these things, getting cameras in general, it's very hard. And so in this meantime, it's kind of like this weird state of trying to like rob Peter to pay Paul. I'm like taking up these parts cameras that could, in the case of this AE-1, this could be a working camera if I spend some time on it. Or I could take the parts from here and replace another camera. And then this one needs parts. And it's just like systems like that, which is like, it's hard. It's very hard. And overall, I'm ultimately going to be doing something with both of these cameras in a way that I hope will benefit somebody in the future. Someone can buy them. Somebody's camera will work because of the parts that I got from these cameras and from all the other cameras that I have in my little nightmare closet. But the point being is, it's not sustainable in the same way that there's just the finite resources. And so part of moving forward with this channel and with my company and with my free time and all of these things is I do want to like spend a bit more time and pivot into finding more sustainable ways to repair, whether that's like part production or something. I don't know what exactly, but that's the thing, is I don't know what, because I've not really had time to sit down and think about it. But it is something I feel like, I'm noticing the trend of prices going up for parts cameras, and I think that's great. Get your bag, get money and all that. But for me, it's hard. So anyway, that's just it. That's very long, rambly, long-winded thoughts about the situation. I'm very stoked about this AE-1 program. Don't get me wrong. Like, this does make me quite happy because I've not had a nice AE-1 program in a while. And the AE-1 itself, you can't go wrong with these. The parts for these are always going to be in high demand because this is a good camera that a lot of people like. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like the video if you did. Comment down below what your thoughts are, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. And I'll catch you on the next one.